Hello, hello. Welcome back to Mistress of the Damned. I am your Mistress Katrina. How are you doing this week? If you are new here, welcome. Glad to see you here. This is where I am reviewing my enormous library of books that are not quite on the walls yet. You can see some of the boxes behind me. I'm hoping to start getting them back up on the walls sometime in the next 2 weeks. I have to make my shelves. I'm doing floating shelves. I've got the brackets for the walls, but I got to make the shelves still. Anyways, I'm reading through my library of books, all 1,800 of them, and growing. And then I review the book. I give you a synopsis, tell you what I think of them. So if you like books, aren't quite sure what to read next, hit that subscribe button, like and share my videos. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now, this week's book was not originally on my to-read list this year because I've read it before. And generally you buy books because you intend to read them more than once. But I mean, 1,800 books and growing, I've got a lot of books to get through. So I was mostly trying to focus on books that I hadn't read yet. But then last Sunday I woke up and I'm doing my early morning social media browse, and I find that scandal has erupted in the belly dance community. And that being one of my other passions, you see my CD rack back there. Most of those are CDs for dance music. Well, I got caught up to speed. I started reading through it, and it turns out that some enterprising individuals who are grossly unfamiliar with history and unaware of the fact that Nazis create blacklists of people you're not supposed to associate with, created a blacklist of people who are guilty of wrongthink. Seriously. The list included things like, didn't think COVID was real. Hey, you're allowed to think that, okay? Voted for Trump with absolutely no proof that people actually voted for Trump. They just assumed they voted for Trump probably because they said something critical of Biden. This is how narrow this world has gotten. It kind of blows my mind. I mean, we went in one generation from Lenny Bruce actually being jailed for speaking his mind to private citizens creating blacklists for people guilty of wrongthink. Did not take long at all for that level of disgusting, deceit, and 1984 level surveillance to take place here in the United States. Anyway, that brings me to this week's book of the week, which, again, I've read before, but was happy to read again. Boom. Secrets of Egypt, Dance, Life, and Beyond by Joana Saahirah. This is why this particular scandal hit my news feed. Joana Saahirah is a friend of mine, and I don't just mean a Facebook friend. I mean, I actually studied with her for about 18 months, so I do know her. So I reached out to her and said, hey, this is awful what's happening. Her name was somehow on this list, and that's why she blew up. And so I said, I have hair all over my microphone. So I said, I'm going to review your book on my little channel that's small but growing. So the only problem they did, so they put this group of people, I'm going to include a link to somebody else who said basically exactly what I think about it, but they put her on the blacklist, and they turn this into a virtue. Oh, you're allowed to blacklist people. Only if you're a Nazi. You know, I mean, the rest of us just want to go along to get along, all right? If somebody actually does something truly heinous, fine, but having a different thought does not qualify as truly heinous. Sorry, folks. When they put Joanna on the blacklist, they forgot to give her a copy of the cancel script. You know, the one that says her role on finding herself canceled is to apologize profusely, roll onto her back, and let people stomp all over her for the end of time. I mean, that's what your role is when you've been canceled. They didn't give her that copy of the script. And so she came up swinging. God love her. She came up swinging and has been fighting this for, at least a week. And she has completely rejected all attempts to hand her the appropriate script. She's had several people reach out to her publicly on her Facebook page. No, you're handling this wrong. This is what you're supposed to do. And she said, no. I'm allowed to have my own thoughts. I'm allowed to think differently from other people, which is, of course, absolute blasphemy to the cancelati. So she flipped the script. Instead of apologizing for something she didn't do and for daring to have this original thought, she invited everybody in the dance community to an open forum discussion on racism and cultural appropriation. And I will include a link to that discussion below. I have a feeling it's probably limited attendance just for bandwidth purposes, so I think reservations are required or requested. I don't know. I haven't, I'm not part of running that. I'm just promoting it for her because I love her. She's wonderful. Now, this may surprise no one, But the cancelati have absolutely zero interest in attending this open forum. But she's trying, because that is who Joanna is. She builds bridges. She lifts people up. She just wants to see the whole world dancing. And again, I know because I studied with her. She is the soul of kindness. Everyone who is rejecting the bridges she is trying to build does so to their detriment. Everyone should have a Joanna in their corner cheering them on. So with that in mind, let's jump into this. The Secrets of Egypt, Dance Life and Beyond is Joana Saahirah's story. This is how she came to be one of the top dancers in Cairo in the early 2000s. As Joanna paints a very vivid picture of just how tough this struggle was. I mean, she describes in heartbreaking detail how she put together her orchestra only to have them betray her for her singer. That was one story. She built another orchestra, the struggle to get contracts without resorting to prostitution, which is very real in Egypt, all right? I mean, people in the West tend to really, really glamorize it and think that's an amazing lifestyle, and how awesome would that be to be a dancer in Egypt? And I'm sure it is once you hit the top of the pyramid, so to speak. But the way to the top is paved with pitfalls and traps. It's paved with sleazy managers offering to get you contracts if you'll only sleep with them. And she describes that in detail again and again and again. This is what happened. This is how I made it. It's not necessarily a roadmap, because her path is probably not going to work for everybody, because you really have to have your morals and stick to them. And not everybody has those morals. And some people will undoubtedly fall for the manager, and not just in a oh, well, this is the only way to get to the top, but think that the guy actually loves her when he really doesn't. He's looking to line his pocket, and getting her to sleep with him is just a side benefit. Her story is amazing. Her voice is so strong throughout this entire book, which you expect from an autobiography, right? Her story, she's writing it herself, so you expect to have this really strong voice. But when she experiences the lows in life, dancing through an abusive relationship that almost killed her, your heart breaks with hers. And when she experiences that triumph of that first contract, and you fly with her. Throughout, she is faithfully telling the story of modern Egypt. How women are still possessions, all right? We don't experience that. I mean, we say that we really suffer under the patriarchy here in the West. Compared to Egypt, no, we really don't, okay? Here in the West, if you walk into a police station saying that you've been attacked, stalked, raped, you at least have the expectation of being believed. You had no such expectation in Egypt, all right? You were attacked, stalked, raped. Basically, well, you were a woman. I mean, what did you expect? Especially if you're a dancer, all right? If you're a dancer, you're presumed to be a prostitute. So if those things happen to you, you brought it on yourself. You're a dancer. And she points all of that out. And it's heartbreaking and sad, because there are women dealing with that and living with that reality in Egypt. And it's important to know, because again, if you think that you're the next great up and coming Cairo star and you're going to move to Egypt and be the next big Joana Saahirah, I mean, do it. Go ahead. Prove me wrong, but be prepared for a really tough road. And it's not one that people, just be prepared, man. It is not, again, you think you got it tough in the West because, that one piece of shit rapist in the Bay Area only got 6 months. Yeah, that sucked, and that was a travesty of justice. They won't even arrest the guy in Egypt, so consider that. Anyways, she lived her life. She studied, while she was in Egypt, she studied with the greats. She studied with Mahmoud Reda. She studied with Sahira'S. She sought out the Egyptian greats that she could, and she learned from them, but not just from them. From everyday people on the streets that she interacted with, she learned these lessons and kind of absorbed them and made them part of her who she is, part of her soul. And I think that's the biggest secret of all throughout the entire book. I mean, she's got, I think, 22 or 23 secrets in there. I'm not going to go through them all, because then they're not secrets, all right? You got to buy the book if you want to learn what the secrets are. But I think the biggest secret that I don't think she would mind me sharing is that you can learn from everything and everybody. There's a lesson everywhere. You can find music everywhere if you open your ears and listen with your heart. I truly love her story. I've actually read it several times. I reread it this time so I could tab it out and find the quotes I want for social media. It's a story of just putting everything out there and clawing your way up. And she started from absolute bottom, all right? I know that that's this big thing. Oh, she's got white privilege. There's no such thing as white privilege in Egypt. All right? That's something that deluded people in the West seem to think, oh, well, the color of your skin makes that big a difference. Not in Egypt. Doesn't do you one damn bit of good. So no, she had no such privilege in Egypt. Her privilege was that she was born in Portugal and knew that women are, in fact, equal to men. All right? And that was not an advantage in Egypt. Not knowing her place was not an advantage in Egypt. All right. She was not from a wealthy family. She bought her own ticket to Egypt, and she worked her ass off until she was at the top tier and recognized even among other dancers in Cairo, being invited to perform several times at one of the biggest dance festivals in Cairo. She just came to be a professional to be reckoned with. And the message she sends throughout the book, and it's repeated and reinforced over and over again, is that with hard work, effort, a little bit of luck, and some talent, you can achieve what you work towards. But it's not going to be a rainbow bridge to happiness from the word go. There will be slumps. There will be problems. How you handle them is going to help determine your level of success. Do you quit, or do you claw your way past the setback? Do you blame others for your failure, or do you work to find a solution? I was about 30 pages into this book when I realized that it really reminded me of like the belly dancer version of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Seriously. It's an autobiography, but it's a philosophy book. I mean, how do you react when life kicks you down? Well, I mean, if you're Joana Saahirah, you lift yourself back up and you take everybody with you. It makes you think. Again, any book that makes you think is worth the read. She tells her life story and just bears her soul for you. And her life has not been easy. She's so sweet. If you ever, watch her videos, talk to her, hell, attend her open forum, right? And you're going to think that surely her life has been a bed of roses, because anybody who's had that bitterness can't possibly be that sweet. And it just kind of reinforces that saying that you can't judge a book by the cover, right? And that's it for this week. If you are a dancer and want to participate in her forum, again, I will put the link in the description. I'm pretty sure you do have to have reservations just for like bandwidth reasons. I don't think it would take like 1,000 dancers or anything like that. But if it goes well, I mean, maybe she'll do it again. Who knows? If you liked what you saw, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think in the comments. And remember, guys, all knowledge is worth having. All right, even knowledge you disagree with. Thanks for watching. Bye.